You are listening to the Horse Radio Network, part of the Equine Network family.
This is episode 757 of the Dressage Radio Show on the Horse Radio Network, brought to you by Kentucky Performance Products. The Dressage Radio Show is the official podcast of the United States Dressage Federation. On today's show, we talk shop with Nicole Harrington on her U.S. Finals experience when the wrong music was used during her championship ride. Next, Jessica Gaston and I share experience in Europe on our horse shopping trip. This is Reese Koffler-Stanfield in Georgetown, Kentucky.
And I am Megan McIsaac from Oregon, Wisconsin, and you're listening to the Dressage Radio Show.
Well, hi, Megan. How are you?
I'm exhausted, Reese. How are you?
Well, yes, because I saw you, which was amazing, all last weekend. And you even came to my house for dinner. We were going to go out to eat, but I could tell. I was like, do you just want to come over and have some chili? And you're like,
yes.
I was like, perfect. So it was so fun. So let's get a wrap up of how finals went for you.
It was amazing, Reese. I had 3 horses at finals. I mean, let's just talk about that. That's an honor.
Yes, that was an honor.
Anyone who gets a chance to go. I feel so fortunate. I had 3 horses. One was a 6-year-old, and it was her first season out at 3rd level. And she qualified for the 3rd level freestyle. She's 11th in the country, 6-year-old Frisian. I'm just blown away by her.
Awesome.
And my second horse was a small tour horse. She's actually a sale horse, and she's hot. And I had a blast. Riding her, Reese.
Love it.
The All-Tech was a lot. It was great experience and exposure. And I think we're 9th in the country at I-1.
Oh, that's amazing. Amazing.
And honestly, I thought I should have been scored higher. And then I looked at the video and I was like, darn, the judges are right. Too much tension. So thank you, judges.
Mm-hmm. And they were very good judges. I think the scoring was pretty right on at finals. Like, I think they were pretty consistent. I didn't see anything that was crazy. I didn't see everything, but I think that was good. And it's the national championship. Like they are not playing around.
No. Yeah. And the best in the country is there. To be able to compete against these top horses and riders was just phenomenal. And my last horse was my Grand Prix horse. And it was our last show that I'm going to compete him down center line. And it was, I gotta say, I was really emotional. Sure. I mean, I rode and all of that, but I was just totally off kilter, I think, because of that. And right before the rider before me we talked about was Nicole Harrington, and I had an extra 15 minutes and it was rough and I was disappointed. But that's dressage, man. And what I love the most is that we did all the things. I had no horse. He was like, I'm done, Mom. And he just dropped his head and said, I'm just going to you carry me through this. And that's the way it went. But I'm so proud and I'm so thankful because he made a dream come true for me, which was competing at finals at the Grand Prix freestyle. We actually ended up in the ribbons, 10th place. Cool. So cool. It's just very emotional for me. I'm still not over it. So that's how it went.
You'll never get over it. I mean, it was so fun to see you girls out there. And I knew, because we're going to talk about it. Nicole came on the show because we had actually had a listener ask us the question of what happens when your music isn't right. Well, it literally happened to Nicole on a huge stage. But I also knew that about you and AJ. I was like, oh my God, Megan is in the warm up and there's no adjusting. You cannot adjust. Nicole was right ahead of you and there was actually a break right behind you. So you kind of got stuck. And I mean, it's just, that is dressage. I'm with you. It's so disappointing.
But it is what dressage. It is.
Yeah. There's nothing you can do about it. And you handled it beautifully. And, it was an honor to see you guys out there. And, I've not ridden at national finals and Grand Prix. I've done a lot of things, but that is something. And so to see my friends out there was so fun and exciting. And I know how hard you two work to get there. And it's such an emotional week. There's lots of activities that happen. There's fun shopping. I mean, it is it's a fun week to come to the horse park and to be here. And it was a great week. And it was, like I said, I think it's a party every time because everyone comes to my town to have a dressage party in November, which is pretty fun. So.
It was amazing to see you in person for once.
I know. We talk now a lot, but not in person. And I also had the opportunity. This was really fun. I have been coaching. Actually, Hannah was my third born. This is my last child, horsey child of Jamaica, my heart mare. And so it was so fun to see her in the Inter 2 and in the Grand Prix. So a horse that I bred, and Laura Crowell does a beautiful job. She bought her when she was 3. So I have been trainer on and off during that time, but I started training with Laura again last year, getting her ready for the big ring. So she was really quite overwhelmed in the I2. Wasn't her best I2. She had a great I2 at the regionals. We were thrilled with her. And actually really came out. She made uncharacteristic mistakes. She got nervous. Her piaffe was kind of non-existent in the I2. So we had to make some adjustments. We went back in the ring again. We schooled her in the evening because that's the hard part with nationals. It's late and early. Yep. So I didn't do the early. Her mom took her. That's not my job, but she did take her back in the ring. So we got her in the ring again that evening. We took her down there just to get her back out there. Let her get comfortable again in the ring. And it's hard because there are like 30 horses in there. So we actually ended up going back to the warm up and kind of didn't feel like it was helpful until we got back in the warm up. And then she walked her in the morning and she was great for the Grand Prix. She finished 4th in the Grand Prix. And it was only her 5th Grand Prix she's ever done. Amazing. So that was really fun. Like that one we finished, the score, she made some mistakes, but they were valid mistakes. Mistakes that happen at that level and very, very fixable. And so we both felt really good and that she ended on such a good note. So that was fun for me that I got to coach my baby. And I got a little choked up. They announced me as the breeder, which they do. And I got a little choked up, Megan. I was like,
you should.
Wow. Like, oh my gosh, that's my baby. I did that. And so that was fun. So it was a fun week.
Oh, congratulations, Reese.
Well, thank you. Well, you too. And anybody else that went, and we saw some listeners and we're so thankful that we were able to see everybody and to be there. So we are looking forward to convention. The USDF convention will be in Houston. We're really excited about that. That's a couple weeks away. And please come and see Megan and I. And we have a session for our book club. So we will be around. And we will be there, and a great time to meet Megan and I in person. If you're coming to convention, please come say hi for sure. We would love that.
Can't wait to meet everybody.
Well, we've got a great show. We're going to have a commercial break from Kentucky Performance Products and come back with Nicole Harrington.
She had waited all her life for this moment, dreaming about it since she was 10 years old. The trailer ramp touched the ground. He whinnied as she backed him out, swinging his head around to get a good look at his new home. His coat gleamed in the sun. Her love had arrived. She was breathless. He was beautiful. She could hardly wait to tack him up and start off on what she was sure would be the best times of her life. This love story is brought to you by Contribute, providing essential omega-3 fatty acids that help maintain low inflammation levels throughout your horse's body. The horse that matters to you matters to Kentucky Performance Products. Call 859-873-2974 or visit kppusa.com to order today.
Well, tonight I am so happy to have my friend and training partner and International Grand Prix rider, Nicole Harrington, on the show. Hi, Nicole.
Hi, how are you?
Well, great. Are you over the horse show hangover from the U.S. Finals?
Just about, yes.
Okay, to not. Megan is also, maybe we all won't recover for a while, but it was so fun to have. I personally think the US Finals is like my own personal dressage party because all my friends come to town. So I got to have dinner with both you girls, which was pretty awesome. So again, I wasn't riding. I just got to come and like hang out and cheer and tell you guys you were awesome. But you brought 2 horses right to the US Finals this year. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Yes. And you rode in the Intermediate 2 and the Grand Prix on 2 different horses.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. So it's awesome. So tell us a little bit about your young mare, because that's a big venue for her, wasn't it?
Yeah, she got a little bit overwhelmed. She's kind of had a rough few years with some things going on, but she was really on a good trajectory.
Yeah.
But I think it was just the horse park is typically not her best venue, and it kind of showed up again.
Well, and that's something to talk about too, right? The horse park is difficult. Yep. Like it's not our horses, we show there, but we don't show in the part of the horse park where the US Finals typically are for the big horses in the All-Tech and doing that walk. So our horses, like no horses are used to it, right?
No. It's a totally different atmosphere, even different from when you're schooling inside in the warm-up versus when you go down through that little tunnel by yourself and you're in that arena. So she's still a green kind of Intermediate 2 Grand Prix horse. And it was just, obviously didn't have our best work, but, we live for another day and she'll show again. So
definitely show it. She will be back there and I will cheer you on again. And I mean, that's part of that. That's part of this journey, especially with a young Grand Prix horse. Like you are in a massive arena. It's quiet. It's not freestyle day. It's like you can hear a lot in there, like a lot of moving around, and it's not an easy venue. It's not like, ooh, they just go in there and it's easy. So that's good to know if you're ever coming to the finals, you can get them in and whatever. But on schooling, sometimes there's 30 horses in there. They're not getting the same.
Schooling
it's a totally different ball game.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, the schooling was scary. There was like 30 people in there all at the same time. And then the second level is scary because people are moving chairs and the warm up scary. Are your horses comfortable with the warm up as well?
My younger mare, yes. Wizard's not great with horses coming head on and getting like kind of pushed against a wall. So it can be a little touchy with him actually in the warm up. Even though he's
you two were in there together
numerous years.
You two were together.
It was awesome.
I was up, I was drinking champagne. I'm not going to lie. I was cheering. I did the wave for you guys. I stood up and cheered.
I love you. And well, Nicole, we had a listener send me a message and her question was, what do you do when your music doesn't work? And that's what happened to you at finals. What happened?
Right. That's the biggest show of the year.
Yes.
What happened was the wrong music was actually played. It was a different version of his freestyle music. That's why it still technically was Wizard of Oz music.
It wasn't the version we were supposed to be riding. He actually has a version for CDI, which is based on the degree of difficulty scale, and then he has kind of a national version when the scale is not being used. Yeah. So I opted to use his national version because he's had a lot of time off this summer with a bad abscess and he wasn't super strong and fit coming into it. And so when it played twice, it was the wrong music. I raised my hand. I was like, no, this isn't right. And I think Nico, the announcer, knew because I had been in his booth prior to that during sound check and had fixed it the first time. So that's when I think things got held up and fixed.
And so that's the real answer to the question, right? Is if you have trouble with your music, stop and raise your hand pretty much
tell the judge what's going on. Yeah.
As you can. Yeah. As quickly as you can. Or if your music, I don't know about you guys, but I was riding, I think it was a first level freestyle and the music stopped and wouldn't play from a certain period on. oh, that was fun. So, obviously there was a problem with the technical music, and I stopped, and they tried to fix it. They didn't fix it. This was when we had CDs, and my client, I had given her the extra CD. Funny story. It was in her car. She was listening to it to prepare. I was writing. I was like, where's the music I gave you? And she's like, oh, I was listening to it in my car. And we were on the hill in the national championship. And I was like, and so the judges were very nice. They were like, why don't you come back and you will ride again? But I rode the whole test, but they started judging at the particular movement which was a bummer because I had a break in my extended trot. I was hoping, but the judges on that ruled that they would start at whatever movement. It was like movement 6 or something. And so that they would start at that movement and judge me from there. So
I think with mine, because it happened right in the beginning.
Yeah, at the beginning.
They opted to basically scratch it and start directly from the beginning. So.
And one of the things, Nicole, you kept your composure. I mean, I kind of figured out, I was like, oh my God, I think it's the wrong music. But how did you keep your composure? I mean, national championship, Grand Prix, Saturday night, huge crowd. And granted, Wizard and you guys have been a wonderful team for a long time, and he kept it together. But how did you mentally hold it together?
I just knew that as long as they knew what was going on and knew the wrong music was playing, it was bound to get fixed one way or another. I was hoping it wasn't a take 4.
But take 4. I know by the third time you entered, Wizard was like, really? 3 times?
I know, my horse was like, what are we doing? I did it right the first time.
He's like, he was good the first time. Yeah, exactly.
It was just a matter of staying calm and, not getting in your own head and knowing that once the music came on and it was correct, it was good to go. That's the hardest part, is not letting the mental get to you.
Yeah. No, I think
have you had that happen before, or was this the first time your music didn't play right?
No, this is the first time that's ever happened to me, and I've done a lot of freestyles.
Yes.
Oh, really?
You have.
Oh, yeah. I've had the same thing happen where it was actually, they started the CD at a later spot. Like they did the sound check, but they kept the CD in, and then they hit play. But it was 3 times I had to enter. And the judge was very nice. And he was like, hey, you could do it later. And I'm like, my horse is going to be done. Yeah. We need to do it now. So that's wild that it had to happen your first time at finals. Great job, Nicole.
Yeah, it was great. So Megan, I'm going to turn this question on you a little bit, because you were right behind Megan. I mean, you were right behind Nicole. So there was, a significant time frame. So that changed your plan a little bit, right? Like, how did you handle that?
It was the worst thing that could happen for me.
Yeah, I knew that. Like,
I'm glad you brought that up, because my horse needs 20 minutes and 10 minutes are walk and 10 minutes are getting him ready, with transitions. And then in we go. And I had an extra 15 minutes. So do you let him down? And he's a very lazy horse and gets behind my leg. And that's exactly what happened. And which was unfortunate, because it was our last competition. But I just said, whatever, this is the horse I have, and this is what we're doing. And we did all the things, but we didn't do them as well as I had wished. So it happens.
Well, that's part of showing, right? Like the person behind you, like there was a break and then a person behind me. So the judges didn't take the break. So it didn't affect them, but it actually affected both you two. It was like, but again, you both are very experienced, and it happens. And I think you're right. Like, Nicole, you just came in and you were very composed, and you just stopped, and the judges were great. Again, you had Lilo Ford, Mike Ozinski, like 2 of the most senior judges besides Janet Foy in the country. So they handled it beautifully. Like, it was well handled. Obviously the announcer felt terrible, but and you did sound check. All this stuff has happened when we've all done sound check. So I think it is just a reminder of things can go wrong, and you just have to be calm about it and, figure out the next way. Would you guys have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think you just have to make the best of whatever situation you're in, and You know, could I have had better ride first time? Absolutely. My horse was like,
yes.
what are we doing? But it is what it is. We go out there, we have fun, and we put our best foot forward on that day.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I agree. I think just enjoy the moment, you know, we get to be there and listen to our music and, oh, well, it happens to
dance
everyone.
with your horses, with your horses. And I think it's a hard perspective. I think the three of us are senior riders. Like we've been there, done that, but it is hard when you've traveled so long and you put so much money into it, but that is something you can't control. And I think that's just as you show. And I've always heard from the great Conrad Schumacher, control the controllables. And those were two uncontrollable things that happened that night. And was it disappointing? I was disappointed for you both. Like it just kind of stunk. But that is the showing game. And the horses, I think, you know, that's why, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but with the young horses and stuff, you know, sometimes they have to stand or they have to learn that it's not always perfect. Like we can make it as perfect as we can, but it's not always perfect, you know? And I think
that's right.
Things
happen, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, I was proud of my horse. He did stand there and stay with me and step up to the plate after the fact. Even though he started twice, he was like, I don't know what we're doing. This is weird, Mom.
Yeah. Well, it was good. Well, girls, it was so fun to see you guys dancing out there. I was so proud and excited. And Nicole, thank you so much for your time tonight. How can our listeners find you online if they have any questions?
Absolutely. Facebook, Harrington Dressage, and that's probably the best way to get a hold of me anymore.
Awesome. I love it. Thanks so much, Nicole.
Thank you, Nicole.
All right. Bye-bye.
As horse owners, we spend a lot of time on the road. Let US Rider help keep you covered. Our equestrian motor plan offers fast, reliable, nationwide service from our highly trained roadside assistance team. 24/7 coverage for both you and your horse. Membership includes horse trailer servicing, towing, flat tire repair, even on dual wheels, battery assistance, and lockout service on any vehicle in your plan. We also have your equine companions covered with referrals for emergency vet services, farrier referrals, and emergency stabling assistance. Get peace of mind on the road for you and your horse. Join US Rider today.
Well, tonight I am so excited to have one of my biggest confidants and advisors and helpers, Jessica Gaston. She and I just got back from Europe together. Jess, welcome back to the show.
Hey, it's good to be on.
I know we haven't had you on in a while. And just to kind of remind people, like you were no longer 15. You're a married lady now, but you came to Maple Crest when you were 15 and you've been part of my life and in the barn life here. And I was so grateful last year. You hadn't been overseas and I said, hey, Jess, I have to get a rental car and I have to get hotel rooms. If you want to pay your way, will you come with me horse shopping? So we had a great time last year. We learned a lot of funny things happened. And this year I had to have you back. I just, after I sold Big Mike, I needed you to come. And I think that's so important is when you're going overseas that you have someone you trust with you that can help you. So round 2, right? We just got back last week or 2 weeks ago now. Yeah.
Well, this trip went so much smoother than last one. Like we both were, it was not my first trip to Europe this time. So it went super smooth. We knew what to do and had a really good team. So it was super fun.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. I think last year we learned a couple things, didn't we, this year? So what were some things that we learned on this trip if you're going back to Europe? Well, first of all, last year we had a terrible rental car, didn't we? Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yes. This is the most important thing. Know your transportation. Yeah. Make sure if you're driving, your rental car is what it should be. It's not some random hybrid that's going to die on you.
Yeah, that happened.
That
happened. Yeah.
Were you stranded?
We had to limp it back to the hotel.
We did. Our cell phones didn't work last year. That was another thing. There was a setting that I think I turned it off. I didn't do anything with my phone. And I knew Jess was like, we have to make sure the phones work. And thankfully, when I was over there in May with the college girls, they got the phones working. So I was like, I promise you, I'm going to turn my phone off and I'm going to turn it back on and we will be fine. So our phones worked. Yep. That was very helpful. And we learned
phones worked. The transportation went well. We didn't get lost a single time. I'm so proud of that.
Right?
Since I'm like the navigation person, we didn't get lost a single time.
We didn't. And that was big actually, because when we had the Apple CarPlay on, it was updating the car faster last year because our phones weren't working. We had to use the car navigation and that did not work.
It doesn't always stay updated to what the roads actually are.
Right.
Oh.
And like the horse we ended up buying, Ori, my wonderful chestnut we love, the road, like the highway was closed to get to him. So we almost didn't go back. Like we got lost. We were like stuck. Oh, it was a mess.
But you got a lovely horse out of it.
Yeah. We got 2 speeding tickets because I was speeding in the Netherlands. By the way, the Netherlands, you have to go very, very slow. Very slow.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Learned that lesson.
They're very strict about that speed limit.
Yep.
Oh. I hate their speed bumps.
Yeah, there's speed.
Oh, this time we had Mary Poppins, our wonderful car, and she would scream at you anytime you went over the speed limit.
Oh, yeah. So this time we needed a little bit bigger car. And that is important actually. Like, okay, so logistically we had our wonderful client, we adore her, but she brought 1 extra bag. Yeah, that's not happening again because we had enough room for the 3 big suitcases in the back, but then we had this extra suitcase and that became kind of a problem, especially if we had 4 people. And we love her. And she asked me, she's like, and I was like, oh, it's no problem. And now I'm like, oh no, that is a logistical problem because we moved every couple days and sometimes we were moving every night this trip.
Yeah.
And that happened.
Transferring cars from our car to an agent's car and back. Like there's a lot of moving pieces and packing as light as possible is definitely ideal.
Yes.
Like your boot bag and a suitcase. That's it. That's all you're allowed.
Yeah.
Maybe
and everybody had a
backpack.
And a backpack or like everybody had a backpack. So that was it. Like that was another hot tip of like, please don't take a bunch of stuff because it depends on your trip. Our trip was we had to find 2 horses in 7 days, which sounds like a lot of time, but we covered a lot of ground. And
well, we went to 3 different countries and we saw over 40 horses in 7 days. We laid eyes on over 40 horses.
Yeah.
How do you keep track of them? I had a binder.
Jess did that.
That was my job. That was the
still don't know.
reason that I came.
Yeah.
I have like a notes app and I link it to my photos and there's an album in there so I can video every horse and make notes on it. And that's why you kind of need to take an assistant. Like I would never fathom going over just by myself, me and the agent to find a horse. Like you have to take a trusted person.
You do.
To video and help
And Jess knows me so well. And she knows, I mean, she's been with me, I don't even know how long, decades at this point. So she knows what kind of horses I like, what kind of horses I don't like. Our client actually had worked with both Jess and I. She had a horse with Jess when I was in Florida. She had a horse. So we all were a really good team. And I think that was really helpful when, I was maybe looking at one horse and Jess was on another horse or Tracy was on another horse. And like, you can do that pretty well when you have multiple people and multiple riders. I also, and this, everybody knows this, I'm not a great young horse rider and Jess is very good at young horses. So for my client, we were looking at 3 and 4-year-olds, which is not my specialty, not something I want to do. Yeah. So Jess,
I love them.
She loves it. Yeah. And I think that's really critical because she's so good with them and that's her niche. And she's really, really good. She's also a Grand Prix rider. So she can ride horses for me too. And then, it's a great way to like bounce it off of like, hey, we tried one 5-year-old. It was a nice horse, but he's tricky. And I said, hey, get on and see what you think. And then there were a couple horses, like there was one beautiful black mare, but it spooked and ran off. And Jess is like, yep, you're done. Jess is like, I loved it. But I was like, yeah, mama's out. Like mama ain't doing that. Like I'm not playing that game with that horse. It was huge. And I was like, no. Jess is like,
it was
Jess is like, put it away.
I was like, oh, if we were shopping for me, that would be the one. But
yeah, she loved her. But I think that's really important. And oh my gosh, like I was so thrilled to have her. And that was the thing too with the car. Just going back, we rented an Audi A6, which is a little bit more money, but we needed it because it was we needed the bigger car. But I'm actually comfortable with that.
That is a big car in Europe. It's not a big car here, but in Europe, it is a huge car.
Yes, which is
very difficult.
Yeah, it's not that big, like barely fit the suitcases kind of thing. And so that was good because I was a little bit more comfortable driving that car than the car that I had rented before. That was like a weird hybrid, and like it was a hot mess. So,
which the hybrids, just get a good car. Get a good car. Book a good hotel room. Don't stay in weird places that may or may not have AC. Like just get the good hotel room.
That's also important. So the Vanderbilt hotels in the Netherlands, they have been very good for us. Actually, last year, poor Jess got sick. We have to talk about the water. And we were able to change the hotel because we were within the same chain and they were wonderful. And the same thing happened. We actually went to the wrong hotel. Our agent did. I booked the hotel she told me, but she went to a different hotel and they were great. Like they were super nice about it and they changed the hotel. So we didn't have to like backtrack 45 minutes to the other one. So that was really good. And then there's a hotel that I've always stayed in when I go over there. And we stayed there 2 nights and we had stayed there last year too. And Jess is like, it's like, we're going home. We knew where it was. We knew the grocery store was,
where the restaurants were, what ones we liked.
Yeah.
It was a good trip.
Important.
Yeah, that was good. And let's talk about the water, Jess. This was interesting, wasn't it?
Yeah. Last year I got violently ill from, we're assuming it's the water because that was the only different thing that Reese and I did, right? Is I was drinking like tap water and Reese was drinking more sparkling water.
She didn't like sparkling water and I love it. So
I don't like sparkling water. So like I kept buying sparkling water and giving it to Reese because I can't.
I had all the water. Yeah. And I also lived there when I was younger. I lived there 2 years. So we think it was the water. So this year, what did we do, Jess? This was really smart.
Yeah, I went and I bought a Life Straw bottle off Amazon and on the advertisement, it says you can drink at a gas station in Mexico out of this bottle. So none of us got sick. We all felt really great the whole trip.
Yep. Yeah,
it was really good.
It was great. That was a hot tip is the water. That was really helpful. And then
just be careful. Like even though it's a civilized country, like it's not like you're going to a third world country, but it's just different enough and the trip's just stressful enough.
Yeah.
The little things you can do to make sure you're comfortable throughout it, those are huge.
And the other thing, right? Eat the breakfast. The hotel breakfast.
Hotel breakfast. Hotel breakfast in Europe is amazing.
Yeah, our client was like, I don't really like breakfast. And by the 3rd day, she was like, I'm eating breakfast.
It is the best buffet of breakfast. They have like a whole charcuterie set up, any kind of egg you want, always have really good bacon. Everything's fresh. The bread is fresh. It's kind of my favorite part, actually.
Yeah.
Like riding all the nice horses. Like I do like riding all the nice horses, but the breakfast.
The breakfast. And I think that's really important to know too, because we were actually there on a holiday, which was, I can't remember the holiday in Germany, and like a Sunday and on a holiday
day, wasn't it?
Yes. And Sunday and holidays in Germany, good luck. Like it's a very hard to find food, honestly. Like it's really tricky. And Megan, you go to Denmark, so you probably know, like it is hard.
The same.
Right. Yeah. So we did end up in a McDonald's. I'm not going to lie. Like we were so happy to find McDonald's. We were like, oh, thank gosh, we have some food and some breakfast, which was, some lunch.
I would always say you need to kidnap a native and have them show you their ways, because it's not like America where you can drive into the city. You need to park outside and you have to walk. And you really need to have someone who knows their way around. I think that's important too.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. I mean, I did. Jess is like, your German's much better this year. I really did work on Duolingo. Like I every night, like I'm on like 350 or 43 or something. I'm almost to a year on Duolingo. And it does help because I knew German as a kid, and then I did a lot in college, but when you don't use it and you're not traveling. So I was working pretty hard. Even over there, I was like, I've got to do my Duolingo. And, they're very long days over there. I think no matter where you are, there's a lot of driving typically, depending on where you are. But we did a lot of driving.
We did. Trip. Our first day after we landed from the flight was it was a rough. I won't lie.
It was 36 hours or something.
Yeah, we were awake for 36 hours because our flight was out of Detroit, which is a pretty short flight. It's like not quite long enough to sleep. I think like 6.5 hours?
Something like that,
was the flight. And then we landed at 6 a.m. local, took a shower, brushed our teeth, got some food. We did get a hotel room. We got one hotel room and we all everybody cleaned up and showered and got to take a little rest in the morning. But that's the kicker. You really, once you land over there, it's actually better to not go to sleep. Yeah. You
kind of have to be we're getting on time. And by the time we got to the hotel, we ended up in Belgium and we were all, and thankfully Jenny Betterloo, we're shouting her out. She's a wonderful agent. She picked us up and drove us the first couple days. And that was very helpful because I wasn't driving. And Jess was also on. Did she drive? I don't think you drove. She was on the car because sometimes you get really tired and you need a second driver. That's another hot tip. So I think really going to Europe, I mean, none of this has to do with riding horses, but you you really have to stretch because you're in your car, you ride maybe 2 or 3, 4, whatever. And then you get back in the car and then you have to how long should I take my boots off? Should I, your boots are going to come on and off quite often. And you need
this time I brought my lace-up boots.
Oh yeah.
That was ideal for these long car rides and plane rides. Bring the lace-up boots if you have them.
Stay away from the salt. Yeah.
Stay away from the salt. Yeah.
Back away
from the salty things. I don't think they do as many the salty things. Well, they have chips and stuff, but you also are probably going to eat at the gas station, which sounds for us, it's a different gas type.
So good.
Yeah, they're so good. That's actually there's usually fresh bakery items.
It's like a deli, a nice deli, where we would have to go and find a nice deli in the States. That's just their gas station.
Yeah. But there's no McDonald's, Burger King. There's McDonald's and there's some Burger King, but in general, they don't have fast food like we do at a gas station. You have one option. So kind of be prepared for that. And if you do need snacks, bring them, bring granola bars or bring things that you need so that you have snacks that you're familiar with. I think, Jess, you knew the food you liked this time. I think it was easier. Yep. And I kind of know. There was definitely a chocolate bar consumed every day in the car and some Starbucks.
Kind of a requirement. It doesn't count.
I needed the sugar.
Eat all the bread you want and all the chocolate you want, and you'll be okay.
Yeah.
I always grab bread and I always tuck it away like a little squirrel in this, and I pack it into the rental car, and I'm I'm ready because the hours are totally off, and it's 9 o'clock. I'm a diva. I need food.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I purposely brought Ziploc bags this trip, empty, clean Ziploc bags, so I could take bread and have it in my little baggie and have it on the car.
Yeah. I mean, it was fine. I always grabbed an apple, always. And that apple every day came in handy around, 3 o'clock. I was I need something
healthier.
These are good tips. It is super fun to shop in Europe, but Jess and I can need to write a little blog about it, what to do and what not to do. But for sure, this year we need to keep going every year, Jess, so we just get better.
Oh, I know. I mean, this year I felt like an absolute professional compared to last year. So
yeah, we had fun, and there was one night where we were so tired. It was early, actually. For us, it was an early night. And just we watched Love is Blind. I was like, oh my God, a Netflix show just to sit here and veg out. We did. We started Love is Blind, and we were excited to get in the hotel just to veg out a little bit because, there's a lot of talking. There's a lot of thinking. our poor client, like, every morning she would come down and she'd be like, okay, because you typically have a list rolling all the time. And like, what do I like about this horse? What do I not like about this horse? And you kind of have a ranking list as you go through. Unfortunately, this has actually never happened to me. And you got to be ready for this. I don't think I was mentally ready. Honestly, I'm not going to lie, everybody.
I wasn't.
Yeah, we did not find a horse.
I was very emotionally invested in this.
Yes, we still are. We're still rolling. We're still looking at horses. But unfortunately, we only found one for me that sort of fit the bill. And he didn't pass the pre-X-rays. So that is also, we didn't get, this horse was an add-on actually. And he was a good add-on. Obviously, we really liked the horse. It was the last day we walked in and Jess and I both like perked up. We were like, oh, okay. But he didn't pass like the pre-X-rays. Like we didn't even send him to the clinic, my vet. And they actually took him back to the clinic, but my vet was not happy with what she saw. So so I walked away without a horse. So that is an interesting dilemma because I'm still shopping, but our client did get a horse, a wonderful mare. We're so excited. She'll be here in a couple weeks. So, but you do need to be prepared to walk away. Like it's a big decision. It's expensive. It's a big decision. So I think that was really, really hard, but that's why, again, Jess is like, it's okay. We'll find one. Like this is, emotionally we were like, oh my gosh, but I'm so thankful she travels with us. And, I'm not going without her. Let me tell you, I can't go without her. So, well, Jess, thank you so much. You have just moved to Colorado and also give virtual lessons as well. How can our listeners find you online?
The best place to find me is through Facebook or Instagram. I am Majestic Dressage. Or Jessica Gaston. You can look me up on both. And then I can give you all my number to link in the show notes if you want later.
Fantastic. Well, Jess, thank you so much. And thank you for being my champion. And our hunt our dating and hunt continues for sure.
Oh, yes. I'll watch all the videos.
Yeah. We're still looking every day. Well, Jess, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Recharge your training program with Equestrian Plus. Equestrian Plus brings together the top riders, trainers, and professionals onto one video platform. Watch over 5,000 how-to training videos, clinic and event footage, exclusive training sessions, and more, featuring top experts including 5-time dressage Olympian Stefan Peters, International Grand Prix dressage competitor Anna Buffini, Olympic dressage team bronze medalist Laura Graves, and many more. Join Equestrian Plus now and use promo code HRN15 for 15% off your first month. Visit equestrianplus.com to subscribe.
Well, Megan, we want to remind everybody, we do have a new book club book going. This is the book we're going to be discussing with the author Janet Foy at convention. So it is Dressage for the Not So Perfect Horse. So grab a copy from Trafalgar Square at horseandriderbooks.com. They're a great partner of ours, and we look forward to it. And as always, you can find our show notes and links to today's guest on our page at horseradionetwork.com. Search Dressage Radio Show. Like us on Facebook, just search Dressage Radio Show. My website is maplecrestfarmky.com, and my email is reese@horseradionetwork.com.
And my website is lindenhoff.com, and my email is lindenhoffllc@gmail.com. We'd like to thank our friends and show sponsors, Kentucky Performance Products. If you'd like to support our show and the Horse Radio Network, you can do that through the auditor program found at horseradionetwork.com. Keep on kicking on until the next show. See you soon.